Hello, it's Sally here from Dotty Bee. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me today. Now today I'm going to be going back to some basics and starting with kind of like a beginner guide to slow stitch. Going through what you need, which is very little, and just starting with a basic running stitch and then what you can do to build on from there. So I'm just going to go through some of the things that you'd want. So obviously you'd want your fabric. Now I like working with vintage fabrics and old fabrics rather than new. So I've just got a few examples, just a couple of examples here. This is old cotton sheeting. It's lovely and soft. It's just a scrap end that I've been snipping at. So there's that kind of thing. I also like using linen, and this is the linen napkin. This is one I haven't cut into yet, but it has got staining on it, and I did specifically buy these for slow stitching. So I'm not going to be too precious and say I don't want to cut it up. It has got a little bit of staining, which I love anyway, and I am going to snip into this. So I've chosen this to do my slow stitching, but you can choose anything really. You can choose, you can have a look through your old clothing, see if there's anything there, old children's clothing that you'd kind of like to want to keep, and maybe use as your slow stitching base so that you've always got that, that to remember. You can use new fabric as well, it's not a problem. Just anything what you want to, what you like sewing with and what gives you pleasure. So for me, I love old linens, so that's what I'm going to use. For this exercise, I'm going to cut my linen, and I'm going to do a 4-inch square, which is about 10 centimetres. So I'm going to go from this edge, just measure loosely my 4 centimetres, give it a snip, and I'm hoping to tear it. A lot of fabrics will tear, and then I just want to go over to the other side and do the same again. Snip just there. I'm just going to snip over this hem, this border, because I don't think it's not going to rip there, and then rip it off. So that's I'm going to pop that away because I will use all of that for other projects. So that's my little square that I've got to start with. Other things that you'll need a pair of scissors. Any scissors will do. Needles. I've been asked quite a few times what needles I use. Now I have got a collection. I've got a little needle book here with a collection of needles that I like. I mean, I've got that's a large needle that I kind of use for wool. If I need something really large, if I've got a thick thread that I need to get through my fabric, that will produce a large hole to get my thread through. But on the whole, I use this is a chenille number 22 needle. With a chenille needle, the eye is larger than the actual needle itself, so that you can get thicker thread through. So if I'm using this kind of stuff, the DMC embroidery floss, and I'm using maybe the whole 6 strands or even 3 strands, I'll probably use one of these because you've got a lot of thread to get through your fabric, so that produces a big enough hole for it to get through that fabric. Also with this is a perlé, which is quite a thick perlé. I would probably use that for that as well, just because also for the ease of getting it through the eye. It's quite easy to get through the eye as well. So sometimes I struggle getting larger threads through smaller eyes. So that's the chenille 22, which I use for the thicker threads. Then I've got these here, which these are cotton darners in a size 5, which I use, and I've also got some milliner's needles, and that's size 3 to 9. You can see that they are different. I like a long needle, that's why I got the cotton darners. I thought I'd give them a go, and I really like these. because they're a long needle. They've got quite a big eye. It's this one here. It's got quite a big eye, so I don't have trouble threading my threads, and it's just a straight needle, that is. So it's more for thinner threads. So you know, like cottons, sewing cottons, and a thinner perlé, which should go through quite easily. I'm going to struggle getting it through, but that will go through. It will go through, but I'm not going to do it now. So that's the that was the cotton darner, and I've also got these again. There's not I think all I can see the difference of these is this eye is smaller with the milliners, so that's why I've gone for the cotton darner, because the eye is a little bit. In fact, that is the milliners that I've just shown you. The cotton darner is that one there, which has got it's the same kind of needle, but it's got a bigger eye, if you can see. So those are the three that I use, if you can see those. I have got others that you do gather when you sew. You do kind of gather loads of other needles. So I have got an assortment of needles. Sometimes if I'm doing a project and I've left one needle on a project and I just need a needle, then that's kind of what I go for on this side. So that's needles. But you just pick up a needle and sew. You don't have to have a specific needle, whatever you feel happy with. Right, so next is threads. So your normal bog standard sewing thread, machine thread. That's I love this one. I use this all the time. This is an old Silco. It does say machine twist thread. I just love the colour on that one, so I use that one quite a lot. Then there's your, like I said, there's your DMC Anchor embroidery floss with the 6 strands. Use those quite a lot as well, because they're so versatile. You can use 1 strand, you can double them up, you can use however many you want. Then there's the perlé. This is quite a thin perlé. I can't see the number on it. It's an, I think this, no it's not, it's a, what is it? It says 50, but I think, oh, it's a Coats one. So there's that. I've got that's an Anchor one. That's a, says I still haven't got to grips with the sizing of these, but you can see one's thinner, they go thicker. Then we've got this kind here, which is probably the same size as the first one, and then they go up to a thicker one here. And they're all like perlés. This is a crochet cotton, but it's just whatever you've got at hand, and you can use whatever you like. There are no rules at all. When you've been doing a few embroideries and projects, you sometimes get some what are called orts, all of the little bits and bobs that are left over. They're quite long, so you don't really want to throw them away, so you kind of save them. So this is kind of my orts bundle at the moment that I'm working with, and you can just pick off there as well, so you know nothing goes to waste. So there's lots of threads that you can use. That's about it really. So fabric, needle, thread, and then obviously kind of like scissors. Sometimes you need a pencil, or I've got one of these, a friction pen that kind of you can draw on, and then it'll line off. And a ruler is also handy, but they're just peripheral things that you don't have to have. So I'm going to start with just a basic running stitch. So I'm going to use a fairly thin thread. So I'm going to use my cotton darner needle for that one. So I'm just going to experiment really. I'm going to start with a thin thread, and this is my cotton, just embroidery sewing thread, like that you would use in a machine. So thread up your needle. If you are having trouble threading, there are little tiny devices around. I don't know whether I've got mine to hand. I don't know where it is. Like a threader. I have got. Oh, hang on. There it is. there's one. So I haven't used this one actually. Let me see if it, a kind lady gave me this one when I did the Arty Farty Annie swaps. She sent this, I think she was from the US. She sent me this one. So what you do with this one, you pop it through like that, put your thread over the top, and then you can, if you pull it through, it doesn't go. Like I say, I haven't used one of these ones before. I've used one of the other ones with the kind of like the wire. Right, let me try again. That like that, and then through, then pull it through. That's it. There. That's how you use that one. If you struggle with threaded needles, there are little devices, and I don't think they're very many pennies at all. So you've got your thread on, you need to knot it. So you can just do a knot however you want. So I usually just twist it around my finger and kind of, you might need to moisten your fingers a little bit and just kind of pull it through like that. And then you've got your needle, your knot. You can also take the end of your thread, wrap it around your needle a couple of times, say 3 or 4 times, hold on to it, pull it down the length, and if you go down right down to the bottom before letting go, it will produce a knot as well. I think that's called a quilter's knot. So you can, shall I show you that one again? If you take the end of your needle, the end of your thread, sorry, onto your needle, hold on to it. I'm not doing that right, sorry. Take the thread, wrap it round, hold on to it and pull it down, and you'll get a knot. So I've got 3 knots there, but you can also just wrap it around your finger, you're kind of twisting it, and then you get a knot like that. So I'm sure you've got ways of doing knots. I'm probably teaching my granny to suck eggs here, but so knots, that's how you do a knot. Right, so we've got our fabric, we've got our thread. So I'm just going to experiment and just do a running stitch just to see what kind of patterns we can make and what it looks like with the different widths of thread. So I'm going to start, where should we start? Let's start here. Okay, so I'm going to go up here, start at the edge of your thread. Now there's 2 ways you can do this. You can either run your needle up and down like this. That's called, surprisingly enough, sewing. That's how you sew. Or you can stab, so it's either sew or stab. So stab is if you've got a hoop, because you can also use a hoop. I don't usually use a hoop, but you can use a hoop, and with a hoop you stab, so you're doing 1 stitch at a time. So down, and up and down, and back up. So it's personal preference as to how you want to do it, whether you want to have a hoop or whether you want to just have it like this. There's no rules, you can do whatever you want. I usually do it like this, and I just find it easy to do that. So I've taken a few stitches and then pull it along. So you're getting an up and down stitch or a running stitch. Okay, and go to the end. Okay, that was just, I've just gone up and down all the way, and you can see some of my stitches are longer than the others, but you can also do smaller or bigger stitches. So if I go back up here and do another row, if I try to take little smaller stitches, I'll just give a different effect. Can you see? A little bit smaller. So just do a row and practice doing them a little bit smaller, but it's like I say, there are no rules. You can do exactly what you want to do. It's a bit big. I love slow stitching because I can just please myself, and if I do a big stitch somewhere instead of a small stitch, I can just say, oh, there's no rules, it doesn't matter, I can just do what I want, and it's just no pressure. It's so relaxing. There we go. Okay, so I've done a couple of rows of a thin thread, so I'm going to just tie this off. Again, I'm just going to take a tiny little bit of fabric and just give it a little bit of a knot. And snip that off. I'm just going to snip some of these knots off because I made quite a few. There, so that's with our thin thread. Right, now I'm going to go on to something a little bit thicker. So I'm going to use the 6-stranded embroidery. I don't know which make this is. It could be Anchor, it could be DMC, I'm not sure. So if I take one of those, and I'm going to take 2 strands and double them up. Oh, no, sorry, I'm not. I'm going to take 1 strand and double it up. So it's basically 2 strands. That's just a little bit thicker. Okay, just wrap it around my finger. Okay, so I'm going to do the same again. And just go up and down for a few stitches and then pull it through. Nearly at the end. If you find you're going wonky, you can always draw lines to follow. So what I could do is, the next one, I could just, you can do your friction pen or you can do your pencil. It's entirely up to you. If you do a pencil, obviously it won't iron out or anything like that, so I'd do it really, really light, just so that you've got a shadow of a line to follow. I mean, this is only a practice square, so it doesn't really matter what you do. But if you didn't want your pencil line to show, it will eventually disappear. But if you don't want your pencil line to show, then you could use a friction pen. So again, I'm just going to follow that line now. And that will make it easier for me to keep straight. I'm just doing some larger stitches here, just so that I can see how it looks with larger stitches rather than smaller stitches. There we go, a little bit larger. Bit of fluff. Right, okay, so let's finish that one off. Now what I could do now is I could put another thread on here of the same one and try four strands, or 3 strands, 4 strands, 5 strands, 6 strands. I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to go into another thread. But if you wanted to do that to see how they all look, you could do that. I'm going to go onto this blue. This is a, whoops daisy, this is a perlé. And see how that one looks. So you need to knot it again. So take hold of the end, 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold on to it until it goes down to the bottom. Or you can do the twist. That's the method, it's up to you. Or any other method that you've got. There are no rules. So again, just follow the line, kind of looking at what I've already done, and then I'll be able to kind of stay in line. I'm probably going a little bit too close actually on this one, but it doesn't matter because there's no rules. There we go, to the end of that one, and we'll come back, and this time I think I will, they're quite large stitches, so I'm going to come back and I'm going to do some small stitches. So go up there. How are you all today? I hope you're all well and you're finding a little bit of time to stitch, or hopefully you're stitching along to this. That would be nice. It's quite a nice day today. It's not too bad. It's a bit cloudy, but there are signs of spring in the garden, and I can just see a little house sparrow hopping around in front of me, and they're on the bird feeders. In fact, one of the bird feeders is so low I'm going to have to fill it up soon. They like the mealworms, I think they're called. They've about gone. They haven't touched, I tell you what, they haven't touched the grainy type of bird feed. Not touched that yet. Perhaps I'll do that one. If I don't fill up the mealworm, maybe they'll start on the other stuff instead. I don't know. But right, there we go. So we've gone along, and I've done smaller, so we can have a difference of how it looks. It's not all uniform. There we go. So that's a bit thicker. And then if I go for, let's see what else we've got. This one, I think is that a little bit thicker maybe? No, it's about the same. So I'm not going to go for those. I'm going to go for this one here. This one's even thicker. Now, because this one's thicker, I might not be able to get it through that needle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap needles, and I'm just going to use my chenille needle. There. And see how we go with that one. Now, because this needle's a little bit thicker, it's not as easy to run through like I've been doing with the other ones. So I could do my stabbing stitch with this one. It does take a little bit longer, but the whole point of slow stitching is that we don't rush it, and we're just enjoying the process of stitching. And this, you know, the feel of fabric and thread and the sound of the needle going through. and it's supposed to be relaxing. Taking a little bit of time out from your phone, your iPad, your computer, and slowing things down. Uh-huh. And then we'll go back. So now that we've done a few lines going this way, and we've seen the different effects that thicker and thinner threads have, we can start thinking about the patterns that we're making on the fabric. So changing direction. So what I can do now, we've done some across, we could start to go down, just do it a different way. So from here, I'm going to take the same thread and start to go down the fabric instead. I've not got too much thread left of this, but I think it'll just about do one line down. There. I don't think I'm going to get much more out of that. I don't think I'm going to be able to go back up, so I'm going to finish that off. I'm going to just, because this is a thick thread, I don't want to pull one of my, I could go in there, but then I'm going to leave a mark on the front, so I'm going to go into the last stitch, make a loop and just pull it a little bit, and I'm going to do that twice. Make a loop, go through it, and then if you just use your fingernail just to kind of pull it tight. Okay, so we've started to go down to make a pattern. So another thread. So now that we've gone through our thick and thin threads, we can just do colours. So what I could do is I could start to smooth those out the way, start to look at what I've got here that I've already used. So I've got peach here, which I quite like. This is some kind of stranded thread, a DMC or an anchor. Just trying to unravel it. Yep. Okay, so on here, I don't really want to use all this. There's quite a lot here. So I've got, what's that? That's 4. I'll tell you what, that's 4 threads. So we'll do a few with 4 threads. See how that looks. Let's cut half of it off. So do our knot. And then start again. Let's start here. when you're doing your running stitch, I don't like to have mine in line, if you like. So can you see how they're kind of, well, those three are in line, but then it kind of goes off. They're not in line. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to not to do these in line either. So I'm going to do some smaller stitches just so that they fall in different places and it doesn't look like they're all uniform. But you can do them uniform if you wanted to, but I like mine all higgledy-piggledy. Okay, that's down to the bottom, and then I'm going to come back up. A bit tough to get through. So we're back up to the top nearly. Okay, let's finish that off. So I'm just going to go into the last stitch and knot. Just do it one more time. Okay, so that's still quite long, so I'm going to pop that back into my oats pile for another time. Okay, so another colour. Right, what else have we got? Got that yellow. Shall we try yellow? There. Oops. And this is quite a thick thread, so I'm going to keep hold of my chenille needle and use that again. There we go. Oops. That's quite a long piece, so I'm just going to chop a little bit off. I don't need it that long. Okay, so again, starting from here. I'm just going up and down. I'm liking the those colours together as well, that colour combination of cream, peach and a yellow. That's quite nice. So back up again. I've taken too many steps, too many stitches there, I think. bit of a tangle. Let's do that. Right. Try not to pull too tight, or else it will pucker your material up. Now what you can do, you can carry on just doing a running stitch up and down, or you can carry your stitches on and see what that does. Just ignore the ones that are going the other way. And just carry your stitches up to the top. Okay. And then back down. I've got enough, I think, to do another one, so you don't have to just do 2 lines of one colour. You can do more. So again, just kind of ignore the ones that are going the other way, because we're not trying to join onto them or anything like that. Just stitching over them and see what kind of effect it will make. You don't even have to go down to the bottom. Let's leave it there. Let's see what happens if we leave it there. Just do one more stitch. This is how you can start to create your design. There, can you see here how it's starting to go across and make a different pattern altogether? It's just totally transforming it. So you've got some not quite crosses, but I think if I carry on, I might even get some crosses. So that's too short now, so I'm going to pop that over in that one. Right, let's choose another colour. So what have I got? Let's go for, it's a bit bright. Let's go for that. This is a variegated orangey red into pink, I think it is. Orangey red into pink. Oops. This one's got a bit of a frayed tail already, so let's snip that off. Right, so where were we? Okay, so let's start where we left off. One more stitch in there. Just be careful when you get to the edge, because some fabrics fray more than others. All right, so carry on up and see. Okay, and then back. Ouch. Try not to stab yourself. Okay, so we've done the lines. We've intersected the lines. So now, how about a shape? Okay. So again, gone across. I made a little bit of a pattern. So got this piece here. Let's make a shape. Okay, so I'm thinking circle. Got that there. Let's find a circle. So I've got a bobbin. I've got a small bobbin. Depends how big you want it. Just whatever you've got to hand. If you've got a compass, then that would be great. Got a lid off a pot. I think that's probably too big. Got that pot. I think that's probably too big as well. I think I'm going to go for this. Excuse me. So I'm going to go for a circle this diameter. So do we want it in the centre? Do I want it up there? Where do I want it? I want it there in that corner. I think I'm going to do it central. So just draw around. And pick a colour and let's start stitching. So what have we got? They've got this one here. I think we've already used this one. So I'm going to use this one again. This is now, is it 4 strands here? No, there's 3 strands here. Well, we haven't used a 3 strand yet, so I don't think. Let's use a 3 strand. See what that looks like. Okay, so knot it and let's get going. So again, just anywhere you can start. And again, just run your needle around the edge. So then you can ask yourself, do you want to do a circle or do you want to do a spiral? Because what you could do is, rather than join it up, you can start spiraling either on the outside or spiraling on the inside, or you could do concentric circles. So you can do this one, then you can start another one inside that's a little bit smaller. Or you can go on the outside and do bigger circles. Or you can just leave it as one circle. It's entirely up to you. think what I'm going to do is a spiral. So I'm going to start spiraling inwards. Now I'm going to do this freehand, but you can draw, yes, with a pencil. You can start what you can do. Once you get to here, about here somewhere, you can start just moving your pencil around and just kind of keeping it the same distance all the way around. It's not going to be perfect, but that's the beauty of slow stitching. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. So carrying ground. Just going to make sure my tension's okay because I don't want it puckering too much. Right, this is where I'm going to start going inwards now, just before I meet the first stitch. And then I'm going to start going round. And this is all being created just from one running stitch. So even if you never used another stitch and you only ever use this one, then you can create so many things. You can go even closer. You don't have to stay this far apart, or you can go bigger and wider. Right, so I haven't got any more pencil marks, but what I'm going to do is just trying to keep the same distance away from the edge all the time now. And what will happen is it'll just take you round. You won't have to do anything else, because you can see where I started to come inwards. You've just got to keep going round at the same distance. Just keep going and going. Kind of lose yourself just by concentrating. It's almost hypnotising. Going around in a circle. Hypnotising me. Just keep going till you get to a centre point. You'll know when to stop because there'll be no more space left to sew. Kind of looks like the sun, doesn't it? Could be the sun, which has given me an idea for what to do next. So a few more stitches just to I think, well, we've got a little centre spot there, haven't we? So I think that's it. All right, let's just finish that off. Grab one of my stitches and knot it off. And another. There we go. Oh, I've done that. There we go. Okay, so there's our, I don't know which way it goes up now. It doesn't have to go up anyway, does it? So it looks like the sun. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do some rays. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my thinner thread. And my thinner needle. Okay, again, if you wanted to, and what kind of keeps everything in play, I've lost my pencil. Right, what you could do is, that's going to be the first, I'm going to have one ray there, you're going to go there. This will just keep all your stitches kind of in line a little bit. If you just use those as guides, you can also do that, there. That will just keep you in line a little bit more. So what I'm going to do, start here and go up. Ouch, 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 ouch. Yeah, I've just had a thought. I'm going to just come back down. I feel as though I'm going to go wonky if I don't start off from the centre. I don't know, I just feel as though I'm going to go off centre, I feel. So I'm going to do some more of these just to guide me. Yeah, that's what I want to do. There we go. So there are my guiding lines. So where am I now? I'm at this one here. So if I go on to the next one, it leaves a lot of thread over the top. So I'm just going to go back down again. All I'm doing is just catching each of those threads just to tie my thread down, going under, and then moving on to the next one. There's that one there. You don't have to do this. You find the easiest way that you can do. There. You can just tie that off and snip it off there if you want, but I'm being a bit lazy, so I'm just going to go down through my stitches. And then on to the next one. Like that. I'm feeling this may have worked better with thicker thread actually, these sun rays. I feeling as though this is probably a little bit too thin. But I've gone with it now, so I'm not going to change it. On this one. But I do like how it's working, how it's turning out. Just had a thought, and then what I could do is, let's carry it on. Like that. I'm going to do that one there as well. I am going to just tie this one off now because I'm going to be going a long way back to the next one. I'm going to do that one that I just said I was going to do. Yeah, I like the sun rays going over the stitches. Okay, start with the next one. Yeah. So it's going over the ones that I've crisscrossed already. So that'll be interesting to see what kind of pattern that makes. Yeah, I've gone over that one already. Okay, I'm liking how that's looking. So up and over all of those stitches. Oops, don't pull it too hard, pucker. Okay, I think I can do one more with this thread. I'm going to have to use another thread. What I'll do is I'll go down here and use one of these short ones, do one of these short ones. There we go. Right, it's getting difficult to sew with that, so let's get another piece of thread. And where were we? Let's do this one. I mean, what you could do is you could do loads of different threads coming off this. Which is what I might do. I might carry on and do the whole of the sun. So, just these ones left to do. Nearly done. What have we got left? 2, 3 more. Okay, that one, and I think we've got one more left, so I'm just going to go back down, because this is only a short one. And then on to the last one. Yep. I've kind of lost my, it's up there, so I couldn't find my pencil mark. There. So let's finish that off and see. There. So one sample or little experiment, little exercise of straight running stitch and what you can do with it. And there's so many more things you can do with it. This is just kind of something that, well, it's just developed. I didn't plan on doing this. I planned on doing the straight stitch and the running stitches here, but then kind of went off on a tangent and did a sun. So don't know which way it goes round. Quite like it that way. That way I quite like. So yeah, I think I'm going to leave it there. I might do some more sun rays. But that's it for today, I think. And I'm going to be doing these little tutorial type thing lessons every so often. So when I do my next one, I'll come back and I'll show you what I've done to this one. Just filling out all of these gaps with more running stitch. That's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to do anything else apart from running stitch. So I hope you've enjoyed this little tutorial, and I hope to see you again soon. So take care and bye bye.